The troll, troll, the troll, troll, the troll, troll, the troll, the troll, troll, the troll, troll, the troll, troll, the troll. Hey guys, and welcome to Tanashi's Movie Corner. And for today's movie review, I will be reviewing Star Wars: A New Hope, that came out on May 25th, 1977. And with me today is my friend Brad. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Mr. Troll.
That's right, I'm Mr. Troll. And so I'm gonna start off with.
Hold on. Okay, I'm stopping. I know people will probably be like, "What the hell?" Like, don't tell me Troll is gonna be doing this review. No. It's not the Troll. We're not doing that. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Brad here. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on this movie and whether the Troll should come back.
I'll be perfectly honest. I think the Troll is perfectly validated in being here for this movie.
Oh man.
I realize
the hate.
A lot of people love this movie and hold it very dear, to them. But realistically, I think as we're going to get into it, this movie does suffer from quite a number of problems.
Yeah,
as we'll get into.
That's true.
The Troll is just as valid being here.
Oh man, people are gonna hate you. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna say up front, I don't love this movie. I don't. For those wondering, this is the movie I started off with watching as a kid. So it's not like it's one of those things where, oh, well, he started with the prequels and everything. No, I started with A New Hope. And as a kid, I loved this movie. This was a great movie. As an adult, it's not as great as what people seem to be saying it is. I'm not going to say it's bad. I don't think it warrants the Troll being here, personally, but I don't think it's a great movie. So I guess what's some of your, since you don't seem to like it that much, what's some of your issues with it? Let's go ahead and get this out of the way.
Well, some issues is that, there's a lot of moments on this thing which are just kind of ludicrous or nonsensical if you really get down to thinking about it, and that's something that as an adult, when you're watching this movie, you kind of notice this a lot more than you did when you were a kid, because like you, I was watching these when I was really young, and that's kind of one of my earliest go-to movies. But this time around, though, you get all these little bitty things that and for me, I kind of get a little bit of enjoyment out of poking fun out of some of these things. But okay. That's not really what you're supposed to be going into a movie, that's not really supposed to be kind of your enjoyment from that.
So what specifically, though, are some of these moments that you're saying don't work?
Well, for instance, when they're in the trash compactor.
Okay, okay, that's the first one you're gonna go to. All right,
there's water that doesn't even reach their knees, and yet there's this creature that's supposedly like drowning Luke. And it's
right.
Well,
and what the hell is the creature even doing there when it's a trash compactor? Like, what's the point? So I'll give you that one.
So you got moments like that. You got this the supposed showdown between Obi-Wan and Vader, which none of
boring.
That really looked like it was.
Now, to be fair, it was the first time that they were showcasing a lightsaber fight in the movie. So and Vader, the suit was, I'm sure, clunky. So you're gonna have a little bit of that. But yeah, you're right. It's boring.
Yeah, they probably should have had a better idea going into it,
right?
As to what that was going to work. And then of course there's a list of these things like a random drawbridge being in there just so they had something to swing across. It makes no sense as to why this thing's even there. There's a whole thing about how the Death Star got blown up. There's this tiny little hole.
Right.
Or I gotta shoot it. It's gonna blow up the entire space station.
A bit of a design flaw there, huh?
More than a little bit.
Okay, well, yeah, I suppose
or
so.
Hell, even the movie starts off with the thing. It's like the droids are escaping in that pod, and the Empire's trying to search the ship for something, and it's like, hold your fire. You know, there's no life signs aboard this thing. We're impounding this ship, and we're trying to search it down for something, but we're just gonna kind of let this thing go.
Right. Yeah, they probably died.
Probably were force choked to death by Vader later on.
Vader probably killed him. That was like, really? Y'all stupid. So, yeah, okay. I got you there. Acting, not good. Sorry, guys. The acting wasn't good. And, again, prequels get a lot of hate for it. And kind of deservedly so in a way. Because quite a bit of acting in the prequels isn't great either. But A New Hope was not a good showcasing of what good acting is. Now, again, like the prequels, you get some people that this is kind of their first take at it. So you can forgive it a little bit. But at the same time, when you're trying to carry a film, it's like it just doesn't really work as well. And another thing, and this is actually to the special editions, because I'm actually a defender of putting special editions in a movie for this, or putting the new cut scenes and everything in it. Because when Lucas did it, he was kind of restrained on what he could do, and so he saw the finished product, and while everyone was happy for it, he was like, well, this, for me, this isn't complete, because I'm missing crucial things that I want in there. That being said, and I'm referencing the Jabba thing at that point, because I may not personally like Jabba in A New Hope, but I understand why he was put there. But the Greedo thing is that was kind of pointless, because that really does change Han's character. So I don't really understand that.
I do agree with the Greedo thing. Honestly, it looked kind of weird when you're seeing that, those shots go down. All of that just. It's a little bit off-putting. My problem with adding the Jabba thing, though, is it looks like Han gets away with disrespecting Jabba, very blatantly, and Jabba just kind of lets it slide. But Han is not, high enough up the rank that he could get away with that, because he doesn't come across as being valuable enough to Jabba to be able to disrespect him and get away with it,
Although he has been able to get away with not paying Jabba for a while. So
yeah, I guess. So you take that for what it is.
Putting it out
but
there.
But they did make some comment as it's like, hey, your ship was being searched, and you ejected all the contraband out into space or something like that, and that's what you're owing me for. Yeah. And then it's like, okay.
I still like his On Mabuki. I like that.
You would figure that if they're searching the ship, they're going to notice if you try to ditch something out into space. That.
Well, I want to know, because this actually happens. Later on, when the ship gets taken into the Death Star, they are hiding in the space where they put that cargo, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't get found. And they don't get found. So why would you, eject the stuff into space, be like, oh, well, I got to ditch this shit. But you have an area specifically to hide this. Like, I don't understand that. That doesn't work for me.
It's a little bit of a logic flaw that kind of goes into that.
But I will say, having Han Solo, Harrison Ford, and Chewbacca, I really liked them in the movie. I really liked the guy that played Obi-Wan. Alec Guinness. I should have known that. Alec Guinness. I liked him for the part that he was in. He didn't get too much, and it was kind of a letdown in a way, but the actor did a good job, I thought. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, not so much. But I like James Earl Jones as Vader. Here, the funny thing is we see Vader in here, and we get told, or basically we come to the conclusion that, well, he's such a badass, but what does he really do in episode 4? Like, he force chokes one guy, and he looks intimidating and sounds intimidating. That's about all he does. He kills an old man. Because an old man lets him. Like, that's the big thing. Like Obi-Wan was just like, you know what, screw it. Hold up the lightsaber, and that's it.
He has his moments, obviously, where he's talking to the Grand Moff, sorry. and he's kind of like, well, this plan doesn't work for this reason, or your approach doesn't work for that reason. But he more or less is commenting on this stuff.
Well, he's following orders too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Grand Moff is actually like, the top of this chain as far as any of these people go. But Vader, because of how he's presenting, you would think that he should be the one that's in charge. Like, he's kind of the picture head for what they're fighting against. But in a way that he's not, So,
yeah. Now, when with the Death Star and everything, when they're doing the rebels are doing their assault on the Death Star, and they go down into the the crevice because they're trying to hit the torpedoes in that little target hole, right? Vader goes and he takes 2 guys with him, and they go after these rebels to shoot them down. 2 guys. Were there other TIE fighters? Like, explain, because I don't quite remember off the top of my head. Were there other TIE fighters involved in this? And why the hell did they have to start so far away from the target? Like, they have a general idea of where the target is. Why they have to start so far back here to get to it? It's just one long crevice. Couldn't they have just gone in sooner?
now I think that there was an implication that there were like turrets, I guess.
Yeah, well, I know
around.
about the turrets, but I'm talking about like
But-
the fighters. The
But
actual
that's a
fighters.
question that wasn't really resolved, is because the rebels are like, oh well, the Empire doesn't think that these, that individual fighters, I guess, are much of a threat. But on the other hand, though,
It's a freaking Death Star.
it is a space station.
It is
you
a
would
space
figure that
station,
it would
yes.
have like a lot of fighters,
Yeah.
to like chase down, like fleeing targets like the Millennium Falcon and stuff like that. Which brings me to another actual logic point that kind of has here. Princess Leia is under the impression that the Millennium Falcon is actually let go because it's being tracked. She
Oh,
has
yeah.
that thing in
Yeah.
her mind that's like, well, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And Han's obviously like, oh, well, no, that's probably not it. But if I were her, I probably would have said, okay, let's go somewhere else
Yeah.
and like switch off to a different vessel to go to the rebels. She
Yeah.
quite literally leads the Empire to where the rebels are,
Right.
which kind of jeopardizes all of them. Even though she was so adamant about protecting them up to this point.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's very true. Also, she's Princess Leia. Why is she Princess Leia? Don't know. Makes no real sense. Yeah, also, why is this called Star Wars? At what point are we seeing the war in this movie? We're not seeing a war in this movie. It's a rebellion. It's a small group that's right. It's not a full-out war. We see a full-out war take place in the prequels, but how much of a war do we see here? Like,
That's kind of part of the issue, is that you would figure a war would encompass like more of the galaxy and stuff like that. These
Yeah.
rebels are too small to actually have this be considered a war.
that's
you
why
know?
they're called rebels. It's because it's a small group, yeah. So that's a lot of bad. Is there any good? Is there anything that you find enjoyable?
Well, like I said, I did get a laugh out of some of these moments that happened on here, and I did get a little bit of enjoyment. Not necessarily from the fact that I thought it was like really well done, but just because it was still funny. It was kind of silly, but it was funny. Like when they come out of those, like when they're walking through the hallways, and they come across that patrol, and the leader's like, shoot them. Bam! Han shoots him in the chest, and all the other troopers are like, haul ass, run away.
Yeah.
That's incredibly silly, and it makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, they
but
can't-
it is still kind of
Hold-
funny.
Hold
to
on,
see.
hold on. They're not good shots. We know this. So one of them gets shot. It's like, oh man, there's only 2 of us now. We're gonna get shot before we can fire on this guy. That's their line of thinking.
I'm actually pretty sure there was more than 2 of them there.
Okay, well maybe it
But
was.
then the corridor is quite literally so narrow that if you were to pick up your gun and shoot, you're gonna hit somebody.
Not if you're a stormtrooper.
Hell, if you could botch that kind of aim, even when you can't see, you just
How do
have some hardcore
hold on.
fail.
How do you think the Empire got taken down? Because they have stormtroopers that can't hit.
No, we're not onto that movie yet.
Okay, well, that's a good point. We're not there. Okay. Uh, Here's the thing. This movie it's a bit of a campy movie, a campy trilogy. But there's some fun in that. My biggest issue with this movie is that it's boring. It's quite literally boring. It's just nothing. It really invests me in this movie at all, except for Darth Vader, because he was cool. And it's the like Han Solo, Chewie, the prospect that it's going to be better, better in the future. And because when I saw it, it's like I saw this one, and then the next one, you know, there's so many people talking good about it. And as a kid, you want to see that kind of thing, so it's more enjoyable. I don't know how I sat through it as a kid, given how boring it was, but I guess it was because of something new. A lot of the effects still hold up, so that's good. Obviously, the music works very well, very iconic music, really fits. Again, you have moments that are a lot of fun. You talked about the drawbridge and everything and trying to get across. That was entertaining. You know, the final fight with the Death Star being destroyed, I thought was entertaining. Yeah, it's a bit stupid how it ends up getting destroyed and all that, but there's still entertainment there. So, you know, the movie definitely has its moments. As there's small moments, and they don't make the movie worth the 121 minutes for length that it has for watching it. This is one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. But I can't say it's completely bad. I can't say it's a horrible movie. It's got some good acting. Like I said, it's got some good music. It's got, you know, some good effects that are still working, and it's got some good scenes that really work well together. So anyway, what would you give it for a rating?
Well, I'm more or less thinking somewhere around like a 5 or a 6.
A 5 or 6.
Because I feel like this movie, when you put all of these things together, it's about average. So it's not like it's a terrible thing to watch. It's not a great thing to watch. It's just something that you could probably sit back with, have a few laughs, somewhat at it, but you know, the laughs are obviously still there. So it is fairly enjoyable.
Yeah. Because there's stuff that doesn't work at all. I forgot to put one of my minor things. It's Vader comes in to interrogate Princess Leia, and what he uses is a droid, a black domed droid with a needle, a shot needle on the side. That's how he tries to get his information. And it doesn't even work. Go figure. But it's like, wow, like that was just... Oh, and they use that again. They use that same droid in Rebels, in season 1 of Rebels. When I saw that, I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, don't call back on something stupid like that. But anyway, back to the point. You know, like I said, there's definitely good stuff. Overall, though, the movie, for me, is boring, and there is stuff that just doesn't work. So, given my kind of lack of entertainment by it, I have to go. I'm gonna go and give it a 5.3 out of 10. So it's still above your average marker. It's not a movie that I'm gonna watch very often. Out of the entire Star Wars series, it's probably the one that I'm gonna watch the least. So, but anyway, that'll wrap up my thoughts on it. You got anything else you want to add?
I think we pretty much addressed everything. Well, most of the things that we wanted to really convey on this point.
I don't think the troll was necessary.
I actually would have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of the troll's comments on this.
Okay, fair enough.
And the only other thing I want to say is I kind of agree with you on the acting from like Harrison Ford, and for the I forget what the actor's name was that did Obi-Wan.
Alec McGinnis.
Alec McGinnis. Carrie Fisher's acting on this though is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there was actually a moment when one of
I
her
said
rebel.
Meg Guinness, and it's actually Alec Guinness. I completely butchered that.
Okay, well,
It's McGinnis.
Carrie Fisher's
Terry.
acting on this though. And I mean, there's a moment when one of her rebel friends is kind of like, I heard about the destruction of your home world,
Alderaan.
Of Alderaan, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yeah, that's okay. We got other things to worry about. You would figure that even if you didn't like, I'm not saying that she should have gotten like real emotional or anything like that. I'm just saying that,
I mean, it was her family.
It was
Friends.
the genocide of her entire people.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When Grand Moff Tarkin is like, "You may fire when ready," and she's like, "No!" And then it happens, right? The actual thing happens. I'm like, okay, we're gonna see something on her face. Sad face, looking down. Just a flat, sad face. No tears, no crying, no sobbing, or no real, indication on her. It was just a very plain face and a look down. To me, the whole freaking planet gets destroyed. I expect a little more reaction out of you. Just saying.
Something.
Just putting it there. But anyway, we gotta stop dissing this movie, man. Okay, we have gone on a little tirade here for this movie. This is not a bad movie. Please let me know down in the comments what your opinion is of the movie. If you enjoyed it, what did you like about it? If you didn't enjoy it, what did you hate about it? Go ahead and comment and give me your thoughts. I understand at the time that this movie came out is a very groundbreaking movie for its time, between the special effects, and even though the story was kind of a basic story, it drew people to go see movies at a time when they weren't really seeing movies that often. So it really brought people together, and it is a movie that expanded throughout the years to incorporate generation after generation of kids because of how it's done. So I understand that. I'm looking at strictly a story perspective on it. Okay? Not its accomplishments, not what it brought. Strictly the story perspective. But anyway, guys, so that'll about wrap this up. Thank you, Brad, for joining once again. And you will be back for Empire Strikes Back, right?
Indeed, I will.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and click that like button, rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, peace.